Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Arts. My name's Antoine Billy Hicksbill, and joined as always is Alex Kolakowski. He's Polish. And this is a show where we talk about being dumb hillbillies and manage to work in the big city of Vancouver, British Columbia. Sorry, had to do that. Alex said I looked like a big dumb hillbilly.
It's true.
I threw it in the dumb part, but I'm sure it was intentional. I'm sure it was,
I don't
was in there somehow.
Yeah. Cool. I'm Alex, by the way. I'm the artist at Tiger Skull RPG. Pleased to meet you.
Fabrice knows. What are you talking about?
Hey, there's like 5 other mysterious people that listen to the show week after week. Yeah.
Hello, 5 mysterious other people. Now I feel even more silly here trying to do that hillbilly thing.
Oh well, it's only 5 still.
It's only 5.
Yeah.
Any more than 5, then it starts getting embarrassing.
Yeah. So
you're in the t-shirt selling business, by the way? So I have to grill you for a minute here.
Apparently I am.
What do you mean apparently?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. You know, Sam's like, Sam's asking me if we can do earrings, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go. I feel like,
Can you tell Sam to pluck off?
We haven't sold any t-shirts.
Yeah, no shit. You know why?
Why?
Because nobody that's following you wants a t-shirt from you.
Yeah, it would seem that way.
Yeah. Stop it, please. Pete and Sam talk about t-shirts being the worst thing ever.
Well, the reason they're talking about t-shirts being the worst ever is because they're always talking about it in Kickstarters, and fulfilling t-shirts is really difficult because everybody's a different size and stuff, and they're physical and all that. It's called another physical item.
Are you doing print on demand?
Yeah, we're using Printful. So if if none sell, then we don't like spend any money on it.
Sure, I know, but also it's like you don't know the quality of these shirts at all.
Yeah, we can't actually order. Well, usually you can order a sample, but because of COVID right now, they're like really. It's actually it's hard to get a t-shirt vendor right now, and they're not doing sample ordering. And actually, like I think like 2 days after we set up our t-shirts, they announced that they're not. They announced that they're not taking any more. Like after they cut it off, like no one is allowed to add. At least through Printful, they're not letting anyone add any more t-shirts. Vendors, to their store because it's just difficult for them to fulfill all this stuff.
I didn't like how you said that. I didn't like how you said we.
Why?
Because this is your venture. This is your thing. Now Sam's coming. No offense, Sam, if Sam's listening to us, but it's like, stop.
Yeah. It's been like challenging to know when to, because I have to say no to a lot of ideas, right? Because it's like, well, everything we do is me saying, it's like my voice in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like my company and my
it's your IP.
My IP, yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah, there's been a lot of that, and Sam's kind of like really excited about it because she's like, there's a lot she's really good at and a lot she's better than me at. But sometimes we have to like figure out, okay, where's the middle ground here? Because
can I tell you where the middle ground is?
Where's that?
Not selling t-shirts.
You sell all kinds of t-shirts. How come you're allowed to sell t-shirts?
No, I don't sell t-shirts anymore. I don't do that shit anymore.
Oh, anymore you don't?
No, that's not part of my brand or anything like that. But by the way, I didn't sell any t-shirts. When I used to make t-shirts with like my designs and stuff like that.
Nobody bought them?
Nobody bought them. No, nobody bought them.
I don't think t-shirts is I don't think anybody's getting rich off t-shirts.
If it's kind of so, if you're like a podcast that's like really popular with dude bros, then yeah, because dude bros love wearing T-shirts of things they really like metal bands or like comedians or podcasters or like different types of like like barstool sports.
Yeah.
Dude bros, they love those T-shirts. So yeah, you're not selling to dude bros. You're not.
Everybody wears T-shirts, not just dude bros. If I really didn't want to sell T-shirts, I would have not sold them at all. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure where the line is, like where it ends.
It rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that. It just didn't feel right. It felt really like kind of like tacked on, and I was just like, "What? I don't understand this. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what's the point of this. This is really. I just for everything you've like posted and made and like talked about, especially with me, and then I saw these T-shirts. I was like, did Sam put you up to this? I was like, Sam put you up to this. So
yeah, I think I always wanted to. I think I did want to have at least one T-shirt with kind of just like my business on it for like doing like conventions later on, like because I still want to do that as like sort of just like a goal later, because there's a lot of good reasons to do conventions, like just getting to like a lot of people. There's a lot of people that still don't use social media that would be nice to get in touch with. You know what I mean? I mean, it's going to be a while before we're doing conventions again, but I always thought it'd be cool to have a T-shirt for those reasons, because like if you've ever been to one, like the T-shirts, I mean, if they don't look like ass and they're not like a T-shirt company that's like selling, hundreds. Like when I would go to artist booths, they would just sell out of T-shirts like right away. Anywhere that had a cool one. Let's see. Oh, Fabrice is commenting. He's got an opinion on the T-shirt.
Oh
thing.
Boy. Oh jeez.
Oh yeah. He's says don't do goodies for Kickstarter nightmare. I know. I follow a lot of Kickstarters for TTRPG per month. Goodies is not easy to manage. Maybe for big community or meme T-shirt that will engage with a lot of people. I think Sam's like, Sam's point is that.
Are we talking about your Sam, or are we talking about One Fantastic Week Sam?
Oh yeah, no. My Sam is that like there's like a big part of the community that we're just not really servicing right now. Like people who like enjoy RPGs but don't own a 3D printer, and just how can we kind of get in there a little bit? You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I'd like to, like down the line, I'd like to do stuff that's more physical based and whatnot. But that's very far away from it right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there because that was my thoughts and feelings on that. And I wanted to talk about some other stuff, but now I'm fucking lost because of our little rant. But I had a really weird fucking day yesterday. I had one of those days where I was so productive, I got no work done.
What do you mean? Sounds counterintuitive. Sounds like contradictory.
Yeah, no,
sounds like a paradox.
I was just modeling. I was just modeling and modeling, and nothing came out of it good. Everything was just kind of gobbledygook. And it was good though, because I feel like I'm closer to my, like what I need to make and what needs to be done now. Like I feel like, okay, I got all this other modeling and other like not soul searching, but almost like creative searching, I guess you could say, trying to like model stuff and make stuff, and it just nothing was sticking. Nothing didn't feel right. Everything felt really, I don't know, just didn't feel good. And then after when that was all done, I like an epiphany happened, and I was like, oh, wait a second, this is what I want. This is what I want to do, and here, I'm going to start with this one step. Was that my reference folder had a bunch of different reference in it, and because of it, I would sometimes see other stuff that wasn't coherent with the other reference that I was using, and I would see that and be like, oh, wait a second, what about if I do this, and what if I do that? And it was just pushing and pulling me.
Yeah.
So I like went back to the reference folder, and I started like curating, like, okay, now we got to really pick and choose here. Like, if this doesn't fit the criteria that I'm like looking for, just throw it out, no matter what, whatever the fucking thing is. Even though
if you really like it,
even though I really like it, if it doesn't fit the criteria that I decided on, just throw it out. And so I did that. So that's what I mean by it was unproductively productive, where it's like got no work done, but I got like on a kind of a clearer path now. A better road. Yeah. So that's what happened to me yesterday.
Yeah, like a big part of the reference gathering process is like making decisions as you're gathering it, and like having a. I mean, maybe it's different for environments and stuff when it's so high level and you're really like not sure what to do yet, but like finding a reference and almost finding a part of the like that image that you can circle and say, this is like something that I'm going to make or take from this image. And like, yeah, maybe it's like a piece of architecture, or maybe it's like a mood, like a lighting thing, or maybe who knows what it is. It can be anything.
Not a lighting thing.
Well, you don't really have to worry about that, I guess. Yeah, you're just making the fate.
It's more about silhouette than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Silhouette than anything.
So that's good. So you're modeling again.
I was always modeling. I'm always modeling. Even when I say that I'm not going to model today, I start modeling.
Oh, that's good.
It just happens. It just comes out of me. But I'm maybe today I might have to actually stop because my tendinitis is flaring up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
I haven't had that in a while, so that means I've been working a lot.
Yeah.
But whoever who's watching this, a good remedy for your tendinitis or just hand problems or whatever is this is going to sound super hillbilly-ish, but apparently this is like an old I learned it from a dishwasher guy that learned it from an Eskimo shaman woman. And I was like, okay, what is it? And so I've done this. What he told me, excuse me, what he told me, it's really, really simple. And the science on it makes a lot of sense. And so what you do is you get like a bowl of like pretty much scalding hot water, like to the point where it's like, you don't want to put your hand in there. It's going to be uncomfortable. And then you get a bowl of ice and, cold water, and you dip your hand in the hot water first, and you just leave it in there as long as you can bear it, and then take it out, dry it off, and then put it in the ice, and then put it in there for pretty much as long as you can bear it. You just repeat that process. And so the science behind it is the hot water will make your like tendons kind of expand, and the cold water tightens it up. And so tendinitis and stuff like that, all this shit in your wrists and whatnot, it's all fucking tight, right? And that's why it's like it's kind of like achy and it kind of doesn't want to move. You know what I mean? And so it's like an elastic. The hot and cold water, it's like a pulling and like letting go process. You know what I mean? Like an elastic band, and it loosens it up. And I've done it before, and it works. It works. And so I swear by it. So yeah, so it is important. And also like hand exercises, like stuff like that, and hand stretching and whatever.
Jazz hands.
is actually super important. And
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I can't believe I've never had like tendonitis or wrist pain or like what's the other one that people complain of? But
carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely on the like PC enough for someone to like obtain this ailment. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder if it's because you use a stylus more than a PC mouse.
No, I honestly I don't use the stylus too often. I use it like
You use it for ZBrush though.
like in ZBrush, I'm using it not a ton.
You use the mouse
mostly,
in
yeah,
ZBrush?
yeah, for sure.
Oh my god!
Because I'm using ZModeler, right? ZModeler is kind of annoying to use with the stylus. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know unless I'm like drawing, I don't use it. I'm not one of those people that can like take my stylus and go and like click in menus and stuff. I really hate that.
Really? I do that all the time.
Oh, I find it's just like, I don't know, I don't know. Especially if anything requires like an on-off, just a single click, like the sliders, like the menu sliders is so annoying to do with the stylus, because like you need to like sometimes click in the like number value field, and you don't want to slide that around. You just want to click it and then enter a value.
Yes, I do that all the time. I think your settings are probably just dumb. Like what I do is I turn the double click off to be like, I don't turn it off, but I put it really low. So you have to like kind of really force it to do the double click or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's why. And also my sensitivity is I don't know. Maybe you just have to play around with your settings to get to a more natural feeling to like the weight of your hand. Because like my stylus is pretty sensitive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Who knows?
It's okay. I don't need to use the stylus all the time. In fact, I think not using the stylus is like my hands, if I'm drawing for a long time, whether with a pencil or a stylus or whatever, like, yeah, you remember taking notes in high school and your hand is like, oh, my hand is sore from taking all these notes.
Yeah.
But like my hand never got sore from playing too much like Quake or I don't know, some mouse game. Fallout. I played Fallout for hours.
Oh, jeez. Which one?
Fallout 3.
Everybody did.
That was the good one. That was the one where there was actually like resource management and like encounters were difficult.
Wouldn't everybody that played the original say otherwise?
The original, well, I don't know about Fallout 1, but Fallout 2 was fucking so hard. It was like, yeah, I'm sure going from Fallout 2 to Fallout 3, you're like, oh man, this is so easy. Because Fallout 2 is like savage right from the get-go. It's just like, it's difficult. I feel like Fallout 3, though, at a high level captures, because you're not getting like bullets even for a basic handgun for like the first 2 hours. Maybe, yeah, well, that maybe you do, but definitely not the first hour. Whereas like Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4, in Fallout New Vegas, you get a flamethrower within the first half hour if you know where to go. Or
Jesus Christ,
even if you
what is
don't,
this podcast about?
Even if you don't, you find the fucking like sheriff's revolver.
Fallout.
And then in Fallout 4, they like give you the power armor right away. You walk out of the vault, and then you go.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Right into like the power armor, and it's like, okay, I guess survival isn't so bad.
You got it all out of you? You good on the Fallout?
I mean, if you're good, I'm good, I guess.
We're all over the place. That's why we need topics, goddammit, so we don't fucking get all over the.
All right, well, pick a topic then.
Pick a topic.
Topics.
Well, we were supposed to talk about what's a skill to complement your artwork.
Oh, it depends. Depends what your artwork is.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, but I was like, well, okay, what about for me, the individual? But I want to know about you. Like, what has something you've learned that has really complemented your artwork and you're like, I'm glad I know this? Or is there something where you're like, man, I really need to learn this so I can get better at my artwork can be more full?
I think illustration and compositing is pretty. I think it's pretty handy for creating an image, because like illustration is just like a step away from graphic design. And graphic design is all about layout and spacing and setting up a page or setting up just like an image just to be read clearly, and then lighting and mood. That's all kind of part of compositing. And I think like that helps to kind of balance your image. So yeah, you take the kind of your graphic design fundamentals and you get everything laid out in a way that displays what you want to show easily, and then you composite it into something that's pleasing. And like you'd be surprised how like bad your modeling can be, but if you layer it right in the image, like in your depth, in the atmosphere of the image, it can look really realistic. Like that's why so many there's also so many junior modelers in film that come in and they just model props, and when you see them on people's art stations, they don't look amazing or anything. Yeah. But then in the film, you're like, it just looks real, because like compositing can go so far to make anything like look convincing, right? So it kind of takes, like, you can spend a lot of time sculpting really well and better and better and better, but then at some point you're going to start making like, it's like at first you're going to make vast upgrades. Everybody shows those images on Facebook or wherever. It's like, this was me in 2016, and it's their human head and it looks like a dog's ass. And then here's me in 2020, and then they made actually like a good head, and then it's like, look at these gains I've made. And like then they get to this professional level, and then every increment after that is like less and less and less. Like you're used to going up, okay, I'm 10% better each month, and now you're getting to be like 0.2% better every month. And it's at that point, once you feel like, and it's hard to say because your eye develops, your skill and your eye develop at two different speeds, right? So you can be a good modeler and not know why, or you can get to a spot where you can see good models, but you can't produce it. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what do I have to do? And you haven't figured it out yet. Yeah. So, but at one point you're going to see, I guess, I don't know. Maybe you don't ever get there, but you get high enough to know when your like gains are really slowing down, and you're at a level where it's like, okay, I'm getting employed. People are like, for my modeling, there's a general agreement that what I'm doing is acceptable. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it's fair, I think, to move on to something else, because being picking up a new skill set and going back from being like somebody who's seasoned to somebody who's a new student is like really good for your brain. It's like that's what I liked about jiu-jitsu when we started. Like I went from being like the lead on a team to being a total nub, like bottom of the rung in the room, where you like really respect the guys who are like fucking legends in the room. You know what I mean? And it's really clear who's who. And and you get to just be a student with no pressure, because when you're the one learning, nobody expects anything of you anyway. So it's like you really get to, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's easier to lose your ego, right? Because you have nothing to lose because you're so new. Anyway, I think you should try that with your art as well. Like, try to learn a new skill. Like, is that illustration? Is that compositing? Is that, I don't know, like architecture, design, something like that? I don't know. And it's also, trying a lot of things quickly is, just good for anybody to realize what they really like if you don't know. I mean, sometimes you have a clear calling, but sometimes you don't. And sometimes you stumble onto things that you didn't realize you really like doing. Like when I was working at Ironclad Games and they needed somebody to draw the icons, and no one wanted to do it because we were all modelers, and modelers want to model, right? and they want to model the characters. And so, doing these icons meant saying no to a few characters. But like looking back now, it was like, man, I'm so glad I did that. And even though I was reluctant at first because I was like a modeler and I wanted to be a character modeler, it was like kind of a detour at the time. But now it's like, I don't know, like I enjoy it just as much as character modeling, if not more sometimes, because it's like, there's way less pressure in it. So I don't know, I'm all about that. Did you have any insight? When's the last time you felt like you learned a new skill that complemented your existing skills? Because you definitely have a bit of graphic design, kind of logo, I would say logo design. That's sort of, like designing a composition in a space, with all your stickers and your, those one-off Monster Men guys. Those are basically all just like logos in their own way.
Jesus Christ, you talked for me as well. Eh? I would say just knowing Photoshop, just knowing skills about Photoshop, knowing how to use different techniques, knowing how to use different tools, and how to use them to your advantages in post work or design work or anything that needs a little bit more work. Photoshop goes a long way when you have stuff that needs to be presented better. Because I did these stills. I don't know why I did that. Nobody knows what a still is.
Using like a Polaroid to capture these stills.
Anyway, no, I was shooting stills, and I needed a background and stuff like that. So I only have it was shot in my kitchen, right? So I don't want my background to be, white walls and my kitchen. So I just did a background and tried my best to make it look somewhat competent, and I was really happy because I was like, oh, thank God I didn't have to because sorry, I keep saying so much, but anyways, I see other Kickstarters and then people will have pictures of stuff and the models are fine and they look good and stuff and they're like, okay, and it's but the presentation wise, when you look at it, you're like, it's kind of,
yeah, the presentation can trick you. The presentation, if it's a number, it multiplies whatever your art is, and it can do that in a positive way, but it can do it in a negative way too.
I was scouring the internets a bit. I was just looking at Kickstarters, and I found some that weren't doing too hot. And sure enough, they didn't have. Their models are great though. They had really good models too.
Yeah.
But just the presentation wise of their models, even the 3D renders of the models were just not very good. And it sucks though, because he had a great product. These models looked cool, but they just they weren't shown off in the best light, in the best, I guess, atmosphere. And if he would have just, I don't know, learned a new rendering trick and maybe a little bit of Photoshop doodads, it could have pushed it a lot farther.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So
I think there's a lot of that in the.
I would say just Photoshop in general is a great skill to learn. And not necessarily design skills or stuff along those lines where it's you got to learn about color theory and design theory and whatnot. Just knowing what Photoshop is capable of doing and knowing some of those capabilities so you can use it as a backup, not a backup, but use it to make everything look a little nicer, look a little brighter, and look a little how you want it to look like.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what I would say would probably be the biggest thing. I was gonna say what I should learn is like more on photography and like filming stuff, which will actually be super useful.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to like make a video or whatnot, or if you want to just shoot stuff better and light stuff better. It's just nice to know those things. So that'll probably be like my next endeavor when it comes to like learning stuff. Will probably be film wise.
Yeah, I think it's good to like, how should I say this? Like, some of it is picking up, how to knowledge, like how to work a camera, how Photoshop works, like software knowledge. But some of it is like kind of more goal oriented knowledge, like when, what about the photography are you looking to extract and take and put in your art?
Yeah.
And, things like depth of field and focal length is stuff you can use in your art in Photoshop and your 3D package right away. Like, you don't need, if you have those high level concepts, you can like apply that to your, you can go into Maya and you can kind of set your focal length, and then you can come in Photoshop and tune your depth of field with a height pass, and you're essentially, you're recreating all this camera stuff. Because a lot of what looks real about art is just that it's like adheres to the rules of a camera, and because we're so used to watching film, like it's the same thing. When the depth of field doesn't make sense and the focus doesn't make sense to like what we're used to seeing in a good photo, it feels super weird to us. And we don't see through our eyes, like we don't see like, things don't come in and out of focus like they do in film, although our eyes are constantly focusing. But I don't know, it's I always like grab I go to like, I don't know what the website is, I just type in movie stills, and then in Google, like one of the first things that pops up after all the ads is like this database of just a collection of films, and then it has everyone you click on has like maybe 24 scenes, and it's just like a nice high-res image of just like a movie, a still of that scene in the movie. Mm-hmm. So then I'm thinking about what image I'm doing, and like it kind of reminds me of like Saving Private Ryan on the beach or whatever the scene is. So you can go find it and then find like a still frame of it, and because in the course of a scene, you'll see there's like a close up of a character, there's characters moving, like every little thing they're trying to do in that scene is, chances are, like it's gonna, one of those scenes is gonna tie into what you need to do, because you're just showing off an asset or a character, right? Like if you're making a boat or a tank or something, there's the part where the fucking boat comes in off the shore, and for sure there's an establishing shot where they frame up the boat real nice, and they've got the depth and it looks great, and there's mist coming in off the sea and everything, and you could see exactly how they like communicate to you, like, hey, look at this badass boat full of army warrior dudes, right? And you could just like, there's so much to take out of that besides just the look and feel, even just like staging and like, oh, the angle is actually kind of sideways, like it's not really, someone isn't just sitting there with the camera like pointing, like there's somebody probably like, I don't know, like up in a crane, and they're sort of looking down and the camera is sideways, and it's like, when you start thinking about it, you're like, man, that would be a pain in the ass to get there just to take this fucking shot. But they don't care. There was like a video I was watching on YouTube, and again, I don't know who the hell made it or what it's called, but comparing Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, to the new one with the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy in it. And how,
Chris Pratt?
Yeah, Chris Pratt's Jurassic Park, and how stupid they are.
Yeah, they're pretty dumb.
In the original Jurassic Park, they frame the shot when you first see a dinosaur. Like, the dinosaur, for one, is like 80% of the screen is the massive dinosaur. Yeah. And the angle is so low that you're looking up, you're like looking way up at this dinosaur. Yeah. And then and the characters, the people in the scene are like, they're looking up like, oh, like dumb idiots, you know, and they're so small in the frame. And you just think, man, this fucking dinosaur is so massive and cool and just like awe-inspiring. But then in the Chris Pratt one, you know, the characters are all framed up and the characters are looking badass, and you can hardly even see the fucking dinosaur when they first show it to you, like, because these characters are in the way, and the angle is like kind of over the shoulder cam because I guess maybe it's more visceral or something, but it just makes you feel like it totally takes away. And like the guy who's breaking it down goes into like what the mindset must have been like for both shots, and one clearly has like, okay, the dinosaur is paramount, and then the other one is like balancing like other shit, like you know, I guess the actors, because they're a big deal, right? Like Jurassic Park didn't really have name. I mean, nowadays I think those act like Jeff Goldblum and whatever is definitely a name now, but back then they weren't like.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Ford
Jurassic Park, like the first one you talked about, was about the dinosaurs. When you think about it.
Oh yeah, you're going to see the craziest fucking dinosaurs you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it wasn't really about the actors, and it wasn't like a
The Rock or whoever that Jean-Claude Van Damme or somebody at the time. Imagine how bad that would have been.
Jean-Claude Van Damme in the production of Jurassic Park, that'd be hilarious. He'd be like roundhouse kicking raptors in the face and stuff.
There would be a shot, like, you know that shot in the kitchen where the raptors are sneaking around? They would go to fucking bite him, and he would jump up and do the splits between two like kitchen counters. Yeah. He would save his life.
Yeah. So it'd be hilarious if that was a thing. There's probably talk. There's well, geez. Fuck.
So that's my rant on extra skills. But you should master one skill. Like pick your main. Got to pick your main, I think. If not, it's just gonna take you forever. Like whether that's modeling or concepting or like whatever.
I would say it's a weird predicament for me because I've said this before on the show, but I want to like my real like kind of end goal in, you know, starting a business and whatnot and like doing this art thing full time. 3D printing thing full time is to hopefully one day have the resources and the income to make a game, not by myself because I'm not capable, but I always wanted to design and be a part of one and have my ideas come to life on a screen. And so it's kind of like I have these skills. What can I do with these skills where that will bring me closer to that goal? And that's about it. It's just saying, what do I have and what do I need to get to that initial, you know, idea or goal or you know, thing I want to do and try out. So
we're so lucky that there's business loops for us to like model and make money.
Well, dude, when you think about it, this like 3D printing, it started when I was in college. When I was with you, you were still. I don't think you were even graduated either. And printable scenery.
Were they a thing back then?
Yeah, they were. I remember stumbling across their stuff. Yeah. I remember stumbling across their stuff and being like, "Holy shit, this is so cool!" And then it just like fell out of existence. Like not in the zeitgeist, but like in the sense where like I was just like, I gotta graduate and I gotta get a job in the video game industry. And that was the reason why my goal was to make a game, but not technically work in the video game industry, which I'm actually really happy that I did because I learned so much. here's one thing: if you want to do something big on your own, work at a high level studio, because you'll learn and you'll see a lot of things, and it will make you a better person. if that makes sense. Maybe not even necessarily a big studio, but like a studio, and go through the process of working on a project, and then the project gets released, and then take what you learned from that whole project, and then hopefully put it towards something good, something worthwhile that you want to do. But what the fuck was
you got to learn from others, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, because like I just knew I wanted to make a game, but I didn't know anything about how to make games, or like what like a producer, a designer, or an engineer, an artist, or whatever. And I remember I was talking to the recruiter for the Art Institution of Vancouver, and I said to her, like, oh, I'm an artist. I really like drawing and stuff like that, and I'd like to try to like learn how to make games and stuff like that. And so I I remember saying like, oh, I'd like to go in the design program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was like, oh, no, Antoine, you want to do art. You want to do modeling and
because you had 3D. Done some art already at that point. Like
I guess so. I guess so. And I was just like a dumb kid, and I was just like, okay. And then I just did it. But you know what? If I would have went to design school, if I would have went to the game design program at AI, I would have hated it. I would have hated it.
Yeah, me too.
Because from all the game designers that went to AI and graduated, they said like it was a stupid program, and it's probably better that you didn't do that. And also, I probably would have never gotten the skills to get a job in the video game industry.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man. Game design. I don't know if a good course on game design even exists. Maybe it does, but like, my friends in the game design field were like just doing like, there was like the programming stream, and then there was the art stream, and you would just kind of do the bullshit easy shit from both of those, so that you kind of know.
Yeah.
But you're not really gaining any skills.
Pretty much.
Like maybe, I think the only like hard skill you kind of can get is like scripting. But
then you might as well just do the programming. You might as well just do the programming course. You know what I mean?
Because then you can actually build whatever you're.
All the courses for game design, you can find it online for free.
Dude, yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's true, because game design is a lot of like documentation and a lot of writing, and a lot of like, this is how a player interacts with this world that you set up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of documentation, which is, when you think about it, it's like it's almost kind of like what's a really useless degree, like an English major, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like, what can you do with that? It's just like, well, you learned a bunch of shit. It's like, I bet you could have learned that all online for free, because what do? You just like write. You just read books and write stuff, right? And then you talk about the idea of writing, and like the art of writing. And that's the same thing with game design, where it's like, it's just this thing where it's like, it's just through a bunch of failure, a bunch of people that have done a bunch of things and they failed, and then they talk about like, oh, like this fucking game, I had this problem, but then I did this, and this is why. So the player does that. You know what I mean? It's all out there, and you can find it. And it's better to have an actual kind of like you said, a skill where you can actually, actually put it towards something that you want to create. Like for me, like I have some skill of, modeling and art and stuff. And so
Mhm.
that could be, used for a game, which it has, because I've worked on games for EA. Isn't this the worst EA shirt you've ever seen?
No, there's way worse.
I just noticed that
I mean,
these little crosses are
Joypad?
gamepad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I hate it.
Splattered, just kind of splattered on.
I don't know. As the shape of it is just so unflattering. It just makes me look just fatter than I'm actually am. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. Yeah. What I'm just trying to say is just get a skill and
Get a skill.
Get a skill. Not necessarily. Get a skill that will help you achieve the things you want to do. Because sometimes you're just not capable. But if you have something, then you have something. You can work with it.
Yeah, the whole game design, like design is such a weird thing. Like everything else, like programming and even making photoreal art, those two, that's kind of what AAA is a lot of, obviously. Those are like sciences, but game design is really the most artistic part of that whole process a lot of the time. With a game like Assassin's Creed or something like that, you think the artsy part is making the art, but really it's like, no, they have a workflow and you just do it, and you're doing it well or you're doing it poorly, and they've set up this whole aesthetic, and there's a lot. It's very like they've made it as they've broken down the art development to like a very clear checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Like it becomes more of a science than an art at that point, because you're really just executing and just like, does it look realistic or does it not, and that whole thing. But like design is really so gray that it's in any game. It's hard to say whether this is. I guess it's easy to say whether it's good or bad, but it's hard to say how it can be better. You can't like in art. If you're going for realism, you can compare your whatever you've done to a photo and say, well, it doesn't have this, doesn't have that. Like the character looks stupid, it doesn't look like it blends in. But you can't, when you're playing the game, aside from saying, oh, it's fun or it's not, then it's often really difficult to say what would make it more fun. And there's a lot of things I think you can do that are like tricks that everybody does, like, I don't know, making the sound effects more like poppier and just putting a bit more polish on your shit. But I think at a high level, it's really hard to have a good game. Like it's just so rare for a AAA game to be good these days. I think there's like one or two that are good, like God of War, I don't know, Zelda, and then a lot of them are just bad or okay.
I suppose so.
I don't know.
I was listening to a little, I guess, a podcast. Oh, sorry. Was it Jonathan Blow? His name is, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Braid developer.
Yeah, or the Witness, the guy that wrote not wrote, but like the developer. But he was talking about something similar, where he was talking about like game design and art style and like how a game looks or whatever. He says there's this notion where if you can make a cube fun, then you can make a good game or something like that. And he was saying like along the lines of, that's not very true, because an aesthetic can really push a gameplay to actually be more enjoyable and more engaging and whatnot. And I was just like, I guess so. That makes a lot of sense, because if a game is, if a game could be just as fun, can be I don't know. Okay, we can break it down to like the most simplest, no, not the most simplest, chess. I think it's pretty simple, but chess, like the first chess pieces that somebody made, they were probably like, little shitty pieces of wood. And then some guy was like, oh yeah, look at my chessboard, and like made an amazing looking one. And hands down, you'd be like, I want to play with that chessboard. That one's a lot nicer. People like interacting and playing and and competing with nice things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, even in sports, people have like really fucking fucking cool ass shoes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you ever see football players? They get custom cleats. Like people will get custom artists to like paint things on their cleats.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make them faster or anything. They just it's like, I want to play with these because these are just they just look cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like when he said that, I was like, oh fuck, that makes total sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then if you start like, and if you have that idea of like, no, like art actually plays a key role in some of your designing, then you can actually kind of properly theme something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And get people's attention to be like, hey, what's that cool thing with the cool art style or the cool, or what, you know what I mean? Like, what's that one fucking game it's like a pixel arty game? I forget, and it's like a mountain climbing game. It's essentially a Super Meat Boy game, but it's a little different. There's a couple little different mechanics. But anyways, Super Meat Boy is a good thing where McMillan, his art is all kind of like it's very him, and there's a very like clear okay, this is I don't know, like it's this wacky kind of cute gross art style, and he uses that wacky gross cute art style to kind of, you know, theme and make certain design choices where, and the Binding of Isaac, he'll have like these little poop monsters, you know, and like because he likes drawing little poop monsters, and or that's what he does in his like free time, or like he's like here's a dead body that's full of flies, you know, and like when it opens his eyes, flies fly out of its eye hole sockets. You know what I mean? Like that's just who he is, but like that's how he can kind of get with designing something at the same time designing an art style around it. And so that's why his stuff feels so kind of like, I don't know, good and refined and like almost kind of makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it adds a lot to his game. Like his own aesthetic like makes it a richer experience. Yeah, I like that guy.
And that's what I've been struggling with my next project here so much is the fantasy stuff. I've never really done it as much, and so I'm trying to find, like, I guess my voice, as cheesy as that sounds. I'm trying to find my voice in this fantasy. Wait, did I say sci-fi? I meant fantasy. In this like fantasy realm, I'm trying to like create in my own head. Mm-hmm. And so slowly but surely, I feel like I'm getting on the right path. So yeah. I try to think of like just everything that I think is fantasy to me, and everything that's cool about it. You've been doing a lot of fantasy shit for a long time. Like you've made
it's true.
Cool, your demo reel for college had a bunch of fucking cool fantasy characters. There were like 2 in there.
Yeah, it was, a lot of it, when you think about it, is kind of similar to now. There was like an undead guy, and then there was like a armor babe, and it's kind of the stuff I'm making now. It's like the same, just not as student looking. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I would have a hard time with sci-fi, that's for sure. Like, what could I say about sci-fi that hasn't been like done already?
It's easy. Just make a bunch of gobbledygook and hopefully it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
My favorite
go ahead.
Sci-fi, I guess, scene. Well, maybe not. I guess I don't know who's to say what my favorite is, but I think. Well, do you remember was it Heavy Metal? Your
question was ridiculous. You said who's to say what my favorite sci-fi scene is? It's like, well,
I
you,
could change.
of course.
It's something I'm not like so passionate about. So then it's like maybe something else is my favorite sci-fi. But I think a really cool aesthetic is the dead skull guys in Heavy Metal when they're flying that plane. Do you remember? Maybe that isn't even technically sci-fi, but
no, I would label that as like
are they
some
flying
sort of.
Is it a plane or a spaceship?
What?
You know the scene I'm talking about? It's hard. Heavy Metal is just a collection of like a lot of short stories, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly. But I don't know. It was just like it was. You don't see a lot of it. I guess the closest thing would be maybe Dead Space, but even Dead Space is kind of more like Gears of War or something.
No, absolutely not. I totally disagree.
You think so? It's
No,
just kind of like a lot
so
of
different. So different.
It's kind of like a lot of like this high tech, like fancy, busy, like art stuff. You know what I mean? Like a lot of normal map details, panels on panels kind of thing.
Are you a robot? Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, those are two different fucking games, man. Like, they look so different art-wise.
Oh yeah.
Yes, very, very different.
Hmm.
You're looking it up right now. Dead Space.
I was about to, but then I decided, fuck it.
No, Dead Space takes place in space, and you're
Yeah,
like on a mining vessel. Gears of War, you're in like this different utopia that got ransacked. So all the
I guess a lot of Gears is like Victorian kind of.
Yeah, it's like Victorian steampunkish, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There's a lot more stone in it actually than anything. So that's why I very disagree with you. There is the sci-fi element, but the sci-fi element feels a lot more industrial than anything.
Yeah.
And Dead Space has an industrial feel because you're kind of like on a mining ship or something like that. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. But it kind of fits more towards Alien and Aliens than Gears of War.
Is Gears of War sci-fi to you? I guess so, eh? I guess because it has guns.
Yeah, for sure. I consider it sci-fi. They got different thingies.
What about Doom? I guess Doom would be sci-fi as well.
Yeah, that's all sci-fi. Okay, I think we're losing a little bit of speed here, so I think it's time to.
It is time. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
I mean, it's been an hour. It's almost been a year.
Year of what?
Of us doing this show.
I know. Yesterday. I was so upset, and I was like saying to myself, like, "Fuck, I don't want to fucking do the podcast tomorrow. Fuck him. Fuck Alex. Fuck everything." Because I was dealing with like modeling, and I just couldn't get anything done. And then I saw the T-shirts, and then I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sakes, what's going on?" But then I did some chores around the house, and I calmed down. I said to myself, "This isn't so bad." Anyways, thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist. It's a weekly show at 8 o'clock every Tuesday. 8 o'clock, just till when you go back to work.
Oh, like physically in the office?
Yeah.
Dude, not till 2021.
Are you what? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm supposed to be working from home for the rest of the year. I mean, tentatively, yeah, that's,
Oh my God. Well, it seems like for the rest of the year, this will be at 8 o'clock every Tuesday, Pacific time. If you want to help out the show, please give us a subscribe, a like, or even a little comment saying, "Hey, Antoine, how on God's earth are you whiter than white?" Or you could say, "Hey, Alex, comb your fucking hair." Be thankful. Be thankful that you have some. What else I gotta say? Oh yeah, you can find me on the Instagrams or the Twitterverse. Fuck, I gotta start using Twitter, or at least posting there more. And And if you want free models, you can go to my Thingiverse page. Or if you want to maybe buy some models, you can go to my Mini Factory page,
Your Mini Factory,
which is all just Forbidden Prints. Alex, where can we find you?
Tiger Skull, RPG.com.
Yeah, go
Tiger
buy
Skull.
go buy a shirt. Go buy a shirt.
Yeah. Let's validate this shirt endeavor and purchase one, and then I'll show it to Antoine and be like, ha. Or don't. Or go buy, I don't know, just buy.
Subscribe to your Patreon. That's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah. Yep. And if you don't have a 3D printer, there's a $1 tier that you can just give me money at if you're so inclined. But that's not necessary.
No, you're supposed to say it's necessary because you're awesome.
That'd be nice. But if it doesn't apply to you, then you don't have to. I don't care. But if you want to help, spread the word. That's all.
Spread the word. All right, then. I'll see you on the next one, Alex. Are we going to hang out this weekend or no?
No.
Son of a bitch.
Maybe.
I'll still ask you, though.
Probably not.
This weekend.
I could do maybe Friday or something like that after work.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining
Later.
five people and Fabrice.
Later, Fabrice.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.